another big reason that you want to invest in 2025 and beyond is that kind of a two-parter here is that competition is growing and times are changing in terms of consumer behavior. So let's tackle the competition part first. So according to the American Bar Association, over the past decade, there have been about 41,000 new lawyers. And so on face value and compared to historical markers, that's the it's not that much compared to other parts of history in terms of the total growth of the legal industry. That being said, there are still more lawyers than there ever have been. There's over a million, 300,000 lawyers in the United States. And even though the lawyer growth numbers have, let's say kind of plateaued, or like the growth rate has slowed down. So it's not like, they're just the market is getting overwhelmed with new lawyers and all of those people are coming in and, looking for market share. So regardless of that, the thing that I would point out here is that I believe that there is a huge proliferation of marketing agencies who are offering services to law firms. So I think compared to 10 years ago or 20 years ago, there really weren't that many folks out there who specialized in marketing for law firms. And, I am in this space. And so recent calculation I did, I found over 90 niche specific marketing agencies for law firms. And what this means is that, with more people out there, there's more competition. There's more of your colleagues have come to the conclusion that to compete, they need a marketing agency. And so this has a increasing competition effect on the landscape as it is. And so with more people out there, there's more money going into ads. There's more competition in the search results. So what used to be something that maybe you could do it yourself, or you could do it with a local marketing agency who doesn't really specialize in law firms, I think, really changed. And I think it's much harder to get results. And the level of competition is increasing, not just in big markets and really competitive practice areas. It's kind of, I think, increasing everywhere, because now you have a generation who has grown up understanding that to get clients, it's no longer about the yellow pages. And I came from the point of view, or the experience of, growing up with my dad, who's a criminal lawyer. And, I remember when that was a discussion, right? Was whether or not they advertise in yellow pages. And that was still very much a thing. It was very much at the infancy of the internet, where legal directories and stuff were starting to pop up. Basically, nobody knew how to, utilize search engine optimization or marketing and ads and stuff like that. And so it was very much the, kind of blue ocean opportunity there. And I think even now, where my dad's been practicing for 50 years and, kind of on the tail end of his career, I mean, he's fully bought in on the idea, that internet marketing is a valuable thing and something that he's going to have to compete in. But, that came over a period of time, right? It was an evolution. And now I think about the folks who are, have graduated from law school in the past 5 to 10 years, who have grown up with the internet. There's just, a totally different mindset of what they need to do to acquire cases. And I think it's much more native or natural for them to understand that the way people are getting their lawyers a lot of the time are going to be getting on the internet and searching for a lawyer. And so I believe overall the competition has increased. Now, when I talk about times are changing with this as well, what I'm referring to is that I predict changing consumer behavior over the course of this year and into next year. And this is primarily related to the prevalence of AI, and specifically AI in search engines and answer engines, and ways that people especially the younger generation, are beginning to consume information. So to be totally candid, we don't know, and I don't certainly don't know what the rest of the year holds and into the future, because we're starting to see ChatGPT search, Perplexity search being used more. We're starting to see Apple and these other areas like Google are incorporating AI into search results, into Alexa, into all of these avenues. And so we're starting to see some softening of Google's dominance on search. And so not only I think people are getting answers in a different way. And right now it appears that, still the majority of people out there are using Google. They're, the earlier adopters are really the ones using these LLMs. But I don't anticipate that's going to be forever. And we're already starting to see these search tools, these LLM search tools like Search GPT, start getting a little bit of market share. It's not an enormous amount, but I think this is going to progress very, very rapidly. And at the end of the year, it's going to look very different. And so on face value, you could look at overall market share of Google and say, well, they have 90% of the search market or something like that. But, and that is absolutely true. But I think increasingly, as more people adopt this, you're going to see a rapid change, or see the potential of a rapid change very quickly. And so we're heavily investing in looking at optimizing for LLMs, so basically search experience optimization. And I predict that, there will be a lot of change with how people are finding those answers and finding lawyers. And basically, you need to be nimble and prepare for this as we move forward for the rest of the year. And so a big part of being on top of this is, I think, investing in smart marketing companies who are kind of leading on the understanding of this and developing strategies around how to get clients like yourself into those positions. So as these times are changing, I think the big winners here are going to be those who stay agile and invest in the right marketing channels. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in reason number 4, but the basic idea of what I would consider the right marketing channel is the one that's going to produce ROI for you. So as you're developing your marketing strategy, I think it should continue to be an evolution. I think things, like I said, are going to change. By how much, I don't quite know yet. And so that's why it's really important to stay agile, be open to investing in new channels, but also always be running it through your own buy box, or your own kind of, metrics as far as what is worthwhile in terms of producing return on investment for your business. So the third reason why I think you should invest in marketing is that with the right mentality and going in with a certain amount of learning, you can avoid past mistakes.